me, Casey? Is it loud? Is it loud enough?
No, it's perfectly fine.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
So, good evening, Miss Mahala. Thank you
Mm-hmm.
for taking the time to speak with me today. I know you have a busy schedule, so I truly appreciate this opportunity to learn from your experience. The
Most
purpose of this
welcome.
uh, the purpose of this interview is to gain insight into your leadership journey, your approach to managing a school, and the impact of leadership in education. Your perspective will be incredibly valuable for us.
Okay, sure,
I want this to be more of a conversation rather than just a typical formal Q&A. So feel
sure.
free to share any experience or stories that you feel best.
Ken, I would appreciate if you could speak louder. I'm not so sure because let me check my speaker. Yeah, my speaker is it is actually full. Maybe you might need to speak a bit louder.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it better?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay. Okay. So
Okay.
moving on to our first question is, in your experience, what were the first steps you took to address low student performance, and how did you prioritize which areas to focus on first?
Okay. So that's the question, right? Okay, great. So basically, when we talk about students' performance or how to address students' performance, the first thing that we have to do is actually we got to analyze the areas of concerns through um, examinations. That means through assessments. So we have two types of assessments. We have formative assessments and also summative assessments. I think you also know what are formative assessments, right? Formative assessments are like progressive assessments that we check students' understanding, students' knowledge uh, before we assess them at the end of every semester, which is the term examination. I would say the summative assessments. So basically, like I myself with this entire team, we prioritize the foundational skills. So when you mention about identifying this low students performance, we basically look at three aspects when it comes to lower primary, which is uh, penguasaan 3M, membaca, menulis, dan also mengira. Okay, yeah. So this is the 3M. That means the students will be able to write, able to read, and also able to count. So this is the benchmark that we put from preschool to year one. So which is eventually we will see, how much we could actually help the students to, to build the foundation. That is for the lower primary level. And then when it comes to upper primary, of course, the priority is given to exam preparation, which is for their, year six exam preparation, which we call checkpoint year six. Like those days, we used to have UPSR, right? Yeah. So for those days, yes, we call UPSR, but in international school, with the Cambridge syllabus, we call checkpoint examination, checkpoint year six examination. So from building the foundation till they actually preparing themselves to sit for the final examination in year six, which is more on exam skills, exam techniques, and many more. So based on this assessment, formative assessment, we will eventually identify who are the low performers, which students need help in which area. So if you see that in my school, we do not really practice streaming. That means the students are basically shuffle. Okay. Therefore, it can be a bit difficult for teachers to apply differentiation of teaching and learning. That means when you group the students, let's say all the smart students in one class, when you have all the weak students in one class, so you can basically differentiate your teaching style and method accordingly. However, when you run a school with a non-stream system whereby we have to also focus on collaborative learning and at the same time help the low student performance. So this is definitely one of the biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenges that our teachers go through. Yet, what we do, we differentiate the teaching materials even within the same class. So that means, let's say that the teacher has a topic on, let's say, adjectives, example. So if she goes to the class, she knows that there are high performers and there are low performers, and there are students who are, like I would say that they are moderate performers here. Therefore, the teachers will eventually come up with different materials. So even though it can be the same materials during the active teaching, but when it comes to homework or additional teaching resources given to the students, that will be based on uh, their level of understanding so that the teachers can support the students accordingly. Okay. And another way that we actually address this low student performance is by having a lot of clinics and also seminars. So we also have extra classes only for those students who are struggling on certain subjects. So we have we will generally have clustered group where we focus on their needs and demands, and also which skill that they need to develop in order to improvise their academic excellence through um, extra classes, through our clinics, through our seminars. So this is what we have been actually doing in addressing low students performance, and at the same time taking the steps to help them academically.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that you address the student academic performance with a
Okay.
team, right?
Yeah. Yes, yes,
And
of
I,
course, with the team. So we have subject leads, subject specialists. They will actually come up with proposals, what kind of uh, engaging activities that they can do in order to help these low performing students. So that's where they will come up with all these workshops with extra clinics, seminars. Yeah.
all right.
Yep.
And speaking of the team, I just want to know how did you work to re-engage staff members who were feeling disengaged or even feeling disconnected from their roles?
Yeah, sometimes we do have teachers who come in with lots of passion. Okay, because I'm pretty sure that all of you are also going to be teachers, right? So when you first start your job, you will feel very excited. You just want to give your 200%, right? But teaching is definitely not an easy job. It requires a lot of patience and determination, commitment. So even if a day you don't go to work, generally teachers would feel like, oh, when I come back, I will have a lot of work to actually settle, because you're not engaging with catchers, you're engaging with children, with students, you see. So sometimes teaching job can be too overwhelming because of the lesson plans that they have to prepare, teaching materials with all the paperwork, the work that they have to do. And then, besides all this, they have to go to the class and they have to teach, where classroom management can be another limitation for some of the teachers. They may not be able to, balance, uh, the workload that, the school expects them to do, especially with the teaching hours, because teachers also engage in extracurricular activities as well. So it's not just come, teach, and go. So with all these factors, of course, sometimes teachers may feel disengaged. Maybe teachers will feel, they feel just want to give up, and they will ended up giving bare minimum, a lot of medical leaves. I can actually straight away answer to your question, but I'm just giving you the actual scenario that's happening in schools nowadays when you talk about staff feeling disengaged. So, what do we do? Number one, definitely an open communication. Like, let's say a staff is not performing a duty properly, or maybe you can see a pattern MC. Like maybe Fridays the teacher will put an MC, and then again you see on Monday you can see another MC. Sometime after a long holidays you see another MC. So when you actually notice all these, let's say you feel like their performance is like declining day by day. the first thing is, before you shoot the gun on them, oh, you're underperforming staff, you're not suitable to this organization, I'm going to give you a show cause letter. I want you to give I want to give you a reminder, a policy reminder, or a warning. I think all this should be the last thing that we can do to this kind of teachers. First of all, addressing their concern. There could be some reason. It could be family matters. It could be the traveling distance to work. It could be financial stress. It could be so many things. It could be even office gossip. When they feel like, the teachers are talking bad about them, they keep on, gossip and spread unnecessary rumors about them. They can feel extremely demotivated. So that's why most important thing is to have an open communication with these teachers. Regular check-in must be done by the principal. So it's not just that, oh, we see the teacher at the beginning of the year and then we only see them at the end of the year. No. So I always have regular check-ins, and I have created a very supportive environment where I practice in open door communication. So anytime the teachers can come and approach me, the only concern that they should have is basically to know whether Miss Mihala is available or not. That's the only concern that they should have. Other than that, they should be ready to come share their opinion, what they feel, good, bad. So this kind of open communication will help us to understand their needs, will make them feel heard, will make them feel seen. So acknowledging their hard work through recognition is also another important strategy that a school leader should actually do it. So sometimes we may think that recognition should come from in the form of bonus or increment. So these are not the only recognition, but recognition can be given by just by just being a, how to say that means giving them the space to grow, you know that career growth, self development, and ability to voice out their opinion. All these are actually recognizing their presence, making them feel inclusive. That means you got to give them some opportunity to also involve in decision making, so it's not just like the authoritative kind of leadership, but you got to listen to your staff members, and then it's very important for us to or the leaders to actually make them take the ownership of the job that they do, the school's mission. Let's say it's like in our case, our school's mission vision is actually to create a holistic educational approach to all the students, and to develop the future leaders who are well rounded. That means in terms of academic, emotional, personality, values, everything. So we got to give them the opportunity to be a part in making some important decision in order to share the mission and vision collaboratively, or I would say together. So I think all this will eventually will help to improve their moral as well as their motivational level. Yeah.
All right. And as a principal, obviously you have to deal with encountering your students' parents. So I just want to ask, what initiatives did you find to be the most effective in encouraging parents to become more actively involved in their children's education?
Yeah. Actually, like in government schools, we have PTA, right? Parent Teacher Association, or we call it PIBG, right? But in some international school, due to some how to say that from I mean it's actually the top management's concern lah. They do not want to have PTA. Why? Because they're worried that the end of the day the parents will ended up dictating how we should actually run the school. As much as we want to create a PTA for a mutual collaboration between the school community and our stakeholders, however, in some schools, their initiatives to have PTA with parents have gone wrong as well. So in my school, as much as we want to encourage parents' engagement, uh, but we are also very careful whether is it okay for us to actually have our PTA, that means Parent Teacher Association. Okay, therefore, to make them feel heard, you know, and at the same time to keep safe, or I would say that to keep a neutral or to keep a balance between the request from parents as well as the management's perspective about having this PTA, we actually have open communication with parents. Okay, so when you say that students engagement, that means parents should know the students sorry parents engagement, that means parents should know what do we do at school with the students. So the parents should be well informed, number one. Okay, so how do we inform about students progress, students activities? Of course, through different channels. So we have our EMS system, that means educational management system, where we have a portal, or I would say um, we have a column where we can always send out announcements and messages to parents personally. So that's number one. We get them engaged with whatever that we do at school. Despite of this, we also have our Telegram group according to the year. That means our year group. So whatever students do at school, we will post. We keep the parents posted. So let's say, for an example, Thursdays and Fridays, our clubs and sports. So we have a Telegram group where dedicated for parents to know what exactly the students do at school related to activities. It could be the expedition, it could be field trip, it could be any competition that they participate. So we take pictures, then we do write-ups, and then we share with parents. So this is another method. We keep the parents involved in our to keep the parents involved with the school. The third thing is we also have newsletter. So we have 4 newsletters will be sent to parents. That means on a quarterly basis lah. So one will be in March, one will be in June, so in May, one will be in July, and then one will be at the end of the year. So we have 4 newsletters. So whatever that we cover within that month, the 3 months, everything we will put in that newsletter, even students' achievement. Let's say the students has won this certain competitions and all that we will actually post, and then we share with the parents community. So this is another way we actually get them involved. um, of course not directly but indirectly. So but how about parents physical engagement? We also invite them for all our festival assemblies. So we also have celebration like Chinese New Year celebration, Hari Raya. We have Deepavali. So these are the main festival assemblies that we do, where we get our own students to perform, and even the decoration, everything will be done by the students themselves. And the students who participate in those assemblies, the parents will be invited. So the parents will actually will join the celebration together with the students. So whether all the parents will come for all the assemblies, basically we have divided our students into 3 groups. So that means there will be a group of students will be performing for Hari Raya assembly, another group will be performing for Chinese New Year, another group will be performing for Deepavali. So the students who are performing, the parents will be invited. So eventually, at least one time, a student will be given a chance to be on the stage and the parent will be invited. So this is another way we actually, involve parents as well. And apart from that, we have some major events. Our sports day, we get our parents involved. And we also have parents who come and contribute for the decoration of the sports houses. They will come and, they sometimes they also sponsor drinks for the students. So that is also part of parents' involvement. Sports day, our cross country run. Like cross country run, it's not only for our students. We also have charity run with the parents as well. So the parents will also eventually will join and run together with the students. So this is another way we actually get the parents involved. And when it comes to award ceremony, we invite the students. the awardees' parents. And we also have this year 6 graduation, year 11 graduation, where we invite parents as well. At the end of the year, we have our annual school concert where we get our parents to join as well. So basically, parental involvement is happening physically. That means they're physical with their physical presence, or sometimes without their physical presence, like through, like what I mentioned just now, through our communication channels like WhatsApp, Telegram, and EMS system. And the most importantly, we have a PTM, parents teachers meeting, which is our report card day lah. So that will be the best time for the parents to get some input about the children's academic and also behavior. So yeah, that's all about parental involvement.
Right, that's great to hear. And I also hear that your school also hosts a lot of events. And
Yeah.
so, can you share an example of a successful program that you implemented to help create a more positive school culture and build a sense of community among students, staff, as well as parents?
So that means the events, isn't it?
Yeah, basically like an example of a successful event.
I think I've mentioned whatever events that I mentioned just now are considered the collaborative events that we do. For an example, okay, let's say if we just want to focus on one particular program, I would say our okay, I would say our festival assemblies, because our festival assemblies is something that it will not look so grand. Why? Because we use the creativity of the students when coming up with the decoration. So let's say if it's a Chinese New Year celebration, then the teachers will let's say the art teacher will work together with the students to come up with our own decoration, and then we will actually display. And apart from that, how parents will eventually involve in these activities, that they are responsible to dress up their children according to the celebration. So let's say if it is Deepavali assembly, despite of the different races, they all will be eventually come with the traditional attire. And especially if it is Deepavali, means they all try to actually wear an Indian attire. But I believe that not everyone will have Indian attire, but the parents will make a lot of effort to go and purchase, so that they want the children to be a part of the celebration, to make them feel inclusive as well. And one more thing that I can say is actually, with all the assignments that we give to the students, like projects that we give to the students. So generally, most of the projects that students submit, basically not 100% done by the students. Basically, you can see there's a lot of time the parents will spend their time, their energy, their money to help the children to come up with with really good project. For an example, like our history teacher, in Malacca, they have the Port Malacca, where they sell all the spices and all that, the trading center of Malacca. Yeah. So that is actually the theme of the project. So the students need to come up with their own Malacca port, where where the students need to come up with figurines, and also with some pictures, or even something related to the things that are being traded lah, especially like spices and all that. So they have to come up with that. So it's not easy for students to actually do it. So there's a lot of participation of parents will be there, involvement of parents will be there. But in case that if you want some references related to the interview that we do in form of pictures and all that, I can also support you with that, Casey. That means I can share all that with you as well. Yeah.
Uh, Thank you so much. And moving on to our final question, what
Okay.
leadership qualities what leadership qualities or approaches that you believe are the most important for a principal to have when addressing these kinds of challenges in school?
Actually, definitely not one quality, a lot of qualities needed. But based on my experience, I mean, being a principal for the past 4 years, because previously, because I've always been teaching, actually. I used to be a teacher, and then from there, I became the subject lead, that means head of department, and then became the coordinator, and then the vice principal. So it's actually, how to say that, teaching as well as taking up some additional responsibility until I take fully the responsibility of principal for the school. So the thing is, one thing I realized that one important quality of a principal or a leader is actually empathy. Empathy is very, very crucial. So when I say that empathy, that means I must be able to understand what the students, what the teachers are actually going through. You know, because when you actually show the empathy, I think that understanding is there, that both the team, the leaders, and the teachers can actually understand the needs of each other. And you see that because of the empathy that I've shown to some of my teachers or whoever that need my help and all that, and that actually make them to return, the empathy that you show in a different way for the betterment of the school and the students. That means maybe one day I would have actually given a flexibility time for one of the teachers to come to school late, for an example, maybe because her child is sick. But when I ask her to stay back a little bit longer on other day to support the students or to participate in an event, she would definitely gracefully or happily, contribute. Why? Because one day I have actually shown the empathy to her. So that's why it's very important for leaders to actually show the empathy and to have a strong communication skills. Very, very important. And the ability to be very transparent with our teachers or with the staff members or even with the students. So apart from that, I think being in my position right now, every day I have to change the quality, I have to change the values, I got to adapt according to the situation. Sometimes I have to be very approachable, sometimes I got to be very flexible, you know and and also I must be able to adapt to different needs of the students as well. For an example, all the while, we never offered any foreign language to our students, but about 39 population of St. John's Primary School is basically foreigners. So all the while, even when it comes to Bahasa Malaysia, if the students want to take Bahasa Malaysia, the foreigners, they will go for Bahasa class. So it's just that it's either they sit for the exam or they just join the class just to learn the language. But understanding the diverse need of students, the parents will eventually, having this quality will help me to do something better or something good for the students. Therefore, this year, we decided to actually give a French language to all the non-Malaysian students. You see, so this is how um, a quality of a leader will actually affect, you know, the effectiveness of the academic management in a school. And last but not least, another important quality of a principal is actually whatever we do, whatever I implement, whatever I suggest, whatever I plan, it must come back to the root, which is the school's vision and mission, you know, and whatever that I implement, it must be measurable. That means, let's say if I want to do a CPD training, a continuous professional training for my teacher on classroom management, let's say that I come out with a planning budget that, okay, so we are going to spend this amount of money for CPD training for our teachers. You see, it's part of my responsibility to plan this. However, I have to see, if I do this, will it, can I see a measurable result? That means, can I see improvement in teachers who have been struggling in classroom management after attending this training? Can the training help them to improvise their classroom management technique? So I must be able to see the result, measurement. That means it has to be measurable outcome. So this is another important quality of a principal, I would say.
All right, so that's
Okay.
the end of our interview.
Yeah,
And once
sure.
again, thank you so much for being part of this interview.
And sure.
And yeah,
Most
that's
welcome.
all.
And I wish you all the best. Shalini, all the best. Nur Aiza, all the best. And also Casey. I think you have put a lot of effort to, to connect with me and to make this interview a successful one. So I wish you all the best for your assignment and also for your academic. Okay?
All right.
Okay. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you,
No,
Okay,
not
bye.
Vince.
daylight. It's
Thank you so
already
much.
night already. Good night. Bye bye.
I
Bye
good night.
bye.
Thank you, Miss.
Yeah. Bye bye.